Beauty has killed more people than most wars. For thousands of years, humans have poisoned themselves, broken their own bones, and starved their bodies, all in pursuit of a perfect face. This isn't ancient superstition. This is documented, medical, horrifying history. And some of these standards lasted centuries. Let's start with the one that turned women's faces into literal death masks. Lead white face paint, ancient Rome to Georgian for over 2,000 years. Pale skin meant wealth. It meant you didn't labor in the sun. So women mixed white lead and vinegar into a paste called ceruse and painted it directly onto their faces. The problem? Lead absorbs straight through skin. It caused hair loss, blackened teeth, muscle paralysis, and slow poisoning. Women would apply more ceruse to cover the damage the ceruse itself was causing, a horrifying feedback loop. Historians point to England's Countess of Coventry, who reportedly died in her 20s from decades of lead makeup use. The standard didn't fade until the 1900s, when governments finally began restricting lead in cosmetics. Foot binding, China, 10th to 20th century. Imagine breaking a child's foot bones on purpose, then wrapping them tighter every day for years. That was foot binding, practiced on tens of millions of girls, starting around age 4 to 7. The toes were forced under and into the sole, the arch broken, and the foot bound into a 3 to 4 inch shape known as a lotus foot. Girls couldn't walk normally for the rest of their lives. Infection, gangrene, and even death from the binding process weren't rare. Why did it last 1,000 years? A small, bound foot signaled that a family was wealthy enough that their daughter never needed to work. It became a marriage requirement. No bound feet, no eligible husband. The practice wasn't formally banned until 1912, and it lingered in rural areas for decades after that. The wasp waist corset, Victorian era A, good Victorian waist, was supposed to be small enough for a man's hands to fully encircle. To get there, corsets laced women's rib cages inward by inches, sometimes displacing internal organs by up to 3 inches from their natural position. Doctors of the era documented fainting spells, hence the popular image of women swooning, fractured ribs, and long-term breathing damage from lungs that never fully expanded. Some women wore corsets even while pregnant. The standard only broke down after World War I, when women entering factories physically couldn't work in rib-crushing garments. Practicality finally beat vanity. Arsenic complexion. Wafers, while corsets crushed the outside, women were also eating poison for their skin. Arsenic was marketed and sold as a beauty supplement, swallowed in wafer form because it caused a paling, luminous complexion. That glow was actually the arsenic destroying red blood cells and damaging capillaries near the skin's surface. Long-term users experienced organ failure, and physicians of the time were writing case studies on chronic arsenic poisoning caused entirely by cosmetic use. Neck rings. Kayan people of Myanmar, Kayan women, brass coils are stacked around the neck starting in childhood, sometimes adding a coil every year or two. The popular myth is that this elongates the neck. In reality, the rings gradually push down the collarbone and compress the rib cage, creating the illusion of a longer neck. Removing the rings after years of wear isn't fatal, contrary to popular myth, but the neck muscles do weaken significantly and the weight can reach over 20 pounds by adulthood. This one isn't entirely historical, it's still practiced today, which makes it one of the few beauty standards on this list that's a living tradition rather than a relic. The tapeworm diet. Late 1800s to early 1900s, companies sold pills marketed to contain live tapeworm eggs, promising customers could eat freely while the parasite consumed the calories from the inside. Swallow a worm, stay thin, that was the pitch. In reality, tapeworm infections cause malnutrition, seizures, and organ damage as the parasite grows to lengths of up to 30 feet in the intestines. Most historians now believe the majority of these products didn't contain real parasites at all, but people were paying to ingest what they believed was a live worm, which tells you everything about how far the pressure to be thin could push people. Ohaguro. Blackened teeth. In Japan, for over 1,000 years in Japan, a white smile was considered unattractive on a married or noble woman. Instead, teeth were dyed pitch black using an iron and vinegar solution called ohaguro, reapplied every few days because it faded. Beyond aesthetics, it may have functioned as an early form of tooth decay prevention. The coating actually sealed enamel from bacteria. It was banned by imperial decree in 1870 as Japan modernized and adopted Western beauty ideals. Every one of these was, at the time, considered completely normal. Not extreme, not backwards, normal. Mothers taught it to daughters as an act of love because opting out meant social and economic exclusion. Which raises the uncomfortable question, which of today's beauty standards will look just as horrifying 100 years from now?